You ever see a painting that's so powerful it just demands a response? Where a single image feels like it's trying to tell you a whole story? Well, that's what we're diving into today. The story of an elephant painting that sparked a poem, and a poem that became this urgent plea for the future.
So let's jump right in. These are the opening lines from the poem Stand By Me by Denis Martindale. And right away, they just drop you into the scene. You're not just looking at two animals, you're feeling this deep, almost unbreakable bond. At the very heart of this whole thing is this single powerful image, a mother elephant and her calf. I love how the poem puts it, as if one and a half, like they're almost a single being, standing completely united against whatever the world throws at them.
And, this unity isn't just some sentimental idea. It is a straight-up survival strategy. In what the poem calls a predator's paradise, that bond, that constant shared watchfulness, that's their best defense.
And the poem really shows us that the danger isn't always some big, obvious thing. No, it's a world of hidden threats, of silent hunters, which, of course, is why that bond between mother and calf is so absolutely critical.
But here's the twist. What's really fascinating about all this, the whole story, this entire poem, it didn't start with words, not at all. It actually began with a painting, with a single artistic vision captured on a canvas.
The artist we're talking about is Stephen Gayford, and his painting, which is also called Stand By Me, is what started this whole chain reaction. Gayford is famous for these incredibly lifelike paintings of wildlife, and this piece is just a perfect example of his talent.
For Gayford, this is so much more than just art for art's sake. His work often has a much bigger purpose. Sales from his paintings directly support conservation efforts, so really, every single brushstroke is a kind of call to action. So how exactly did this painting find its voice? Well, that's where our poet, Denis Martindale, enters the picture. He saw the painting's silent story, its unspoken plea, and he decided to give it words.
And this is just a perfect example of that creative spark, right? Gayford's brush freezes this one moment, and it's just brimming with unspoken tension and emotion. Then Martindale's pen comes along and sort of unfreezes it. It weaves a whole story around that single image, exploring its past and its really uncertain future.
And get this, their collaboration wasn't just a one-off thing. They actually wrote to each other for years, creating this amazing feedback loop of inspiration. The art inspired the words, and then those words turned around and fueled the creation of brand new art. How cool is that? Okay, so let's get back to the poem itself. Martindale takes Gayford's quiet, still image and just explodes it into this dynamic and honestly pretty grim story of a daily struggle for survival. With these lines, the poem just throws you right into a world of constant, nail-biting uncertainty. There's no such thing as a safe routine here. Every single sunrise brings a new, totally unpredictable challenge. Man, I think this line is just incredibly powerful. It completely tears away any romantic idea we might have about life in the wild. This isn't some game of survival. No, it is a brutal, relentless, day-in, day-out war. In this part, wow, it just lays the stakes bare. A long, full life is possible, sure, but so is a life that's tragically, brutally short. In this constant war, absolutely nothing is guaranteed. And right here, this is where the poem makes its most important move. It pivots. It stops observing the animal kingdom and turns its gaze directly on us. The last stanza isn't a description anymore. It's an interrogation. So the first question is really a challenge to our very nature, isn't it? It's not about our technology or our policies. It's about our character. It's asking if we are even capable of being wise and showing restraint, if we can learn to just coexist. Then the second question gets even sharper. It reframes poaching and all that habitat destruction. It doesn't call it a problem or an issue. It calls it theft. And that is such a powerful word choice. It directly accuses us of a crime against the natural world. And the third question broadens the whole thing. It's not enough to just stop doing bad things. The poem asks if we actually have the will to actively preserve what's precious. This isn't about avoiding a negative, it's about chasing a positive. It's really a question of our priorities as a species. And that final question, it just leaves us with the ultimate responsibility. It's this haunting plea for us to become guardians. Not just for this mother and her calf, not just for elephants, but for every single life that's left. And this brings us to one last crucial detail: the date.
You might have noticed it at the end of the source. The poet didn't write this about the past. He said it in the very near future. So this isn't a reflection on what's happened. It's a forecast. It's a warning.
So this isn't really just a piece of art or a poem anymore, is it? It's a deadline. The artist and the poet, they've done their part. They've framed the image, they've asked the hard questions, and now they've left the final and most important part completely up to us.